I don't usually post stuff like this, but something happened to me last summer that I still can't explain. And frankly, I haven't been the same since. I'm not the kind of person who jumps at shadows. I've hiked alone for years, slept under the stars more times than I can count, and never once had a problem. But what happened on the Pacific Crest Trail? That was different. I wasn't even going to tell anyone at first, but I've been having these weird dreams ever since. Like whatever was out there with me isn't done. So here goes. It was July 2023, right around the time the heat makes every tree hum like it's alive. I'd taken some time off work and decided to tackle a major section of the Pacific Crest Trail solo. I've always loved being off-grid, just me, the trees, and whatever fits in a pack. My plan was straightforward. Park at the southern end, hitch a ride to the trailhead, and hike back to my car over the course of 10 or 11 days. I packed light but smart. Tent, food, water filter, bear spray, the works. The first few days went great. Quiet, peaceful. The trail was beautiful in that almost spiritual kind of way. Towering trees, jagged hills, and enough silence to remind you just how loud modern life is. I ran into a few hikers, but for the most part, I was alone, and I liked it that way. On the fifth night, I set up camp near a small ridge overlooking a stream. No cell service, obviously, just the sound of water and a light breeze through the trees. That night, I woke up suddenly. No reason. I wasn't cold, wasn't having a nightmare. I just snapped awake. I sat up and listened. Nothing. Not even crickets. I've camped enough to know that when the forest goes dead quiet, it usually means there's a predator nearby. A mountain lion, a bear, something like that. I stayed in my tent and waited. I didn't hear footsteps, no rustling, just this deep stillness that started to feel wrong. Eventually, I guess I fell back asleep, but the next morning, I noticed something strange. There were indentations in the dirt around my tent. Not quite footprints, but not animal tracks either. More like long, narrow smudges, as if someone had been dragging their feet in a slow circle around my tent. Not once. 3 full times. I brushed it off, told myself it was erosion, wind, whatever. I even took a picture of it. I still have that photo. I packed up fast and hiked an extra 5 miles that day, just to put distance between me and whatever that was. 2 days later, around day 7, things got worse. I'd made camp in a more exposed area near a cluster of boulders, just off the main trail, but surrounded by dense tree cover. The sun was going down, so I cooked a quick meal, pitched my tent, and climbed in before it got fully dark. At around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of something tapping, like knuckles on plastic. I froze. The tapping was faint, but it was right near my head. I didn't move, didn't breathe. Then I heard it again. Not tapping this time, scraping. Something dragged slowly across the side of my tent, like a finger tracing a line from one side to the other. I grabbed my flashlight and turned it on. Nothing. When I finally got the courage to unzip the tent, the woods looked totally normal. Except for one thing. On a tree, about 10 feet away, there was a long black thread hanging from a branch. Just one. Almost like someone had tied it there on purpose. It wasn't mine. I broke camp before the sun came up. I didn't eat, didn't even pack properly, just shoved everything into my bag and walked. That day, I didn't see a single hiker, not one. By the 9th night, I was totally spent. I knew I was getting close to the end of the trail, but I started to feel like I was being watched. Every few miles I'd turn around, sure I'd heard footsteps that weren't mine. I camped one last time in a small clearing surrounded by saplings. I didn't sleep, just laid there in my tent, bear spray in one hand, pocket knife in the other. At 3:12 a.m., I remember the time exactly because I checked my watch. I heard breathing. Deep, human, right outside the tent wall. Then a voice. Not a whisper, not a shout, just a voice. It said, "Not far now." I couldn't even scream. I waited until sunrise and ran, left half my gear behind. I didn't stop until I saw another hiker, an older guy with a walking stick who looked just as surprised to see me as I was relieved to see him. I didn't tell him what happened, just asked how far to the trail's end. 2 miles. 2 more miles and I would have been safe. I was over a year ago. I haven't been hiking since. My gear's still in a closet somewhere, probably still dirty from that trip. I haven't told many people this story, but lately I've been dreaming about that voice. Every time, it says the same thing. Not far now.